All right, we are live back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. I got Richie joining me today. How we doing today, Rich?
Good, Duke. How about you, man?
Oh well, can't complain. The national championship was last night. It was, you know, everything I thought it was gonna be. Was not disappointed. It is what it is. Obviously Notre Dame didn't win. Ohio State came out and got the victory as expected. So I mean, it's one of those things that that it happened and you got to move on.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good game last night. It's what I wanted. I wanted a close, competitive football game. Hats off to Notre Dame for fighting back, clawing back, trying to mount that comeback last night. And hats off to Marcus Freeman. You know, he has Notre Dame fighting for him and playing for him. They'll be back next year. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think that what Marcus is. We got a couple comments here. I think that Brendan, well, that sucked. Congratulations to OSU. We'll be back bigger and better next year. Book it. Yeah, it's good. It's a long way away. Sid here. Congratulations to OSU. Indy is further away than I thought. I don't think Notre Dame is that far away. I feel like they could, if they could get some of the if they could fix what's going on the outside with the skill positions and start a pipeline of developing quarterbacks, I think they'll be okay. I feel like that's kind of what hurt them, but at the end there, Riley Leonard did kind of throw it around. Zach here went exactly how I figured it would go. It's one of those things that it's tough. Indy hold their heads high. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what happened. Notre Dame got out athleted. You can't really argue that on hardly any front at all that they didn't get out athleted. Um, you know, I had my comments that ruffled some feathers about Ohio State's roster building, and eventually some of that what I was saying will come out, whether it's here or at the NFL, but it'll come out eventually. Um, I'm perfectly okay with that, but it is what it is. Devin Brown enters the transfer portal. Well, he had announced that he was entering the transfer portal. Everybody that was under a rock um, didn't realize that was he had already declared he was entering the transfer portal, and I guess he's gonna go to Cal.
I heard, yeah, I heard that somewhere. I think it was last week he was going to go to Cal. So hey, I hope he plays well. I hope it works out for him. Yeah, any of those guys that transfer out of Ohio State, I'm always pulling for them. I always want them to succeed, and I hope he's happy where he's at in Cal.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the move to Cal. I think that's very interesting. I don't. I mean, I thought Devin Brown was kind of from Utah. I thought so. I think Cal's an interesting choice. Must have a connection there. So I didn't read too much into it, but I don't know, these Fong bombs and all these predictions the last couple weeks have not been very good, I would say.
Yeah, I he's kind of like the anti Adam Schefter with everything, and he's always not getting them right. I did see there was another Calvin Simpson Hunt. He entered the portal. He was a 2 year. He played 2 years at Ohio State. He was a cornerback. Uh, so I'm curious to see where he'll go. There's some guys that did leave, like Mitch Melton. Is it Melton? He's number 17 for Ohio State. He's hitting the portal. I don't know. I forget where he's maybe rumored to go, but time will tell.
Yeah, there's been quite a few. I wouldn't say quite a few. I think you'll have, a couple of guys trickle out from the day. Couple days after, you're going to get some guys. I'll be shocked if CJ Hicks is still at Ohio State, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. CJ has not played the best as far as that on that front, but I don't see a path to the field because I feel like Arvell Reese has jumped him. It just a wild endeavor there. Some other things moving around in the college football space. I do find this very, very interesting. Yeah, I'm with you, Sid. Notre Dame's got to get some. They got to get some bigger guys on the defensive line. That's not a. There's not a debate there. A couple of things. I did hear that Al Golden is taking a interview at Cincinnati.
I did see that too, yeah.
I do think that might be a foregone conclusion. I don't know if he's going to jump to the NFL 100% or not. If I had to lean on it, I would say yes. He probably takes that job. I don't know if that's. I think that's more of a lateral move than anything.
But why a lateral move to the Bengals?
Well, I guess at Al Golden's age, he doesn't want to. I don't think he wants to be a head coach at the college level.
Because he was down in Miami and they struggled for years down there. He was down there as a head coach.
Well, I kind of think Miami is still struggling. When you look at it, it's one of those. Some of the Notre Dame fans are going to be sour, but you got to think if you're Al Golden's age, you're over 60 years old. Why do you want to go on the road recruiting? I think that's a big. I think that's a big selling point in the NFL. There is no recruiting.
No. You get the guys that's drafted and deal with them and develop them and get them out there.
Because you got to think Al Golden makes probably 2.2 million, somewhere in that. Yeah, somewhere in that. I would say that the NFL is going to give him $3 million. He'll probably get a $3 million raise, or a $500,000 raise. Probably put him up to 3.2. Not have to go on the road and recruit. It's one of those things. Sid here says, I have a problem with him leaving. He wasn't in the title game. I don't think that he was distracted by that. I think that he had just set the interview up. And also, I was told this the other day that 90% of the NFL interviews, do you think they're in person? No, they're all Zoom. So it's whatever. And, the Bears, they hired Ben Johnson. I'd say good luck to you, but I would say Ryan Poles is fired next year.
Yeah, he's on his last leg. Chicago. If they go dead last, yeah, he's got to go.
I don't think they drafted well. Sid is who's Ben Johnson. We're talking a little NFL right now. Ben Johnson is
offensive coordinator at Detroit.
Yeah, and he took the Bears job.
Yeah.
I think Kevin O'Connell signs a multi-year extension
with the Vikings.
I find that very fascinating because, last year, they were ready to run him out of town.
Tampa's offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen's linked to the Jaguars job. Good luck with that down in Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville's kind of a dumpster fire. I got nothing on Jacksonville. Don't want no part of Jacksonville.
I think Shad Khan, he's running that team into the ground. When
oh,
Wayne Weaver,
it's
when
because
Wayne, go ahead.
it's because he wants to sell it,
He wants
or
to sell, or he wants to move him to England.
Yeah, I think that's what he wants to do, and I think if the NFL moved a team to England, if I'm the 31 other owners, say no, we're not playing over there.
No, it's stupid. I honestly I'm not a fan of those international games either because it messes everybody's rhythm up, timing up, their schedules. I mean I get they're trying to expand their sphere of influence across the globe with the NFL, but maybe just play one game there. You don't need to have 3-4 games over there like in Germany, Munich. Isn't there a game somewhere else next season? I forget where it's
I
at.
think they're playing in Spain.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
There's a game over there. Why not just bring back the NFL Europe? What's so hard about that?
why not just play preseason games over there,
That's a good point.
or do all the London stuff in like September, to where it's done and out of the way.
Yeah, where it's done and out of the way, and it's not all it's screwing up and everything. And I don't want to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning to watch a game. I mean, regardless, I'll watch it, but it's just a pain in the ass just to have to get up and start your Sunday off watching a possible crap game.
There's also sources that say Josh McDaniels is going back to be the Patriots OC. I'm sure you're shocked by that.
I'm not shocked at all.
I guess Vrabel is going to be his new guy that he attaches to. Because Josh has never, made it as a head coach at all.
No, he just needs to quit taking those head coaching jobs because he's a good coordinator, terrible head coach.
Well, the players don't respect him.
No, and didn't McChesney talk about how he was cussing out, getting on Kenny Peterson, who they played high school together with? Did you ever hear about that?
That don't shock me any.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't either. I mean, they played high school together at McKinley, and he was coaching Kenny P. And from what McChesney said was on a JB show, this was earlier in the season. He constantly just ripped on Kenny Peterson, just talked down to him.
Well, I mean, it's no wonder that Josh McDaniels gets fired in Las Vegas and is unemployed for 2 years, and it took a New England guy from the Belichick holdover, and I'm sure Belichick called Vrabel and begged him.
Oh yeah,
I guarantee you he begged him, and like McDaniels was sniffing around Ohio State. Ryan Day told him no.
Was he? See, I didn't hear that.
Oh, it's yeah, he was sniffing around Ohio State, wanted an analyst job.
Oh man.
But I think Ryan pretty much told him no, and I don't think Chip Kelly's kind of strange in some aspects. I don't think Chip was going to bring him along because I mean, between Chip and Ryan Day, what do you need another set of eyes for? And Tim Dreveno. Like I don't think you need anything there. And then on the other side of the coin, Ichiro, CC Sabathia, and Billy Wagner, all Major League Baseball Hall of Famers.
Wow. And I was just watching Sports Center before they flipped the commercial. What's up, Ryan Day's beard?
It's championship beard now.
Championship beard now, yeah.
In the next segment, we're going to get into the Natty, and I'll, express my thoughts on it.
Where were we going with this, Duke?
Ichiro, CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I saw CC get announced that he's going to be enshrined in the Baseball Hall of Fame, he's going in as a Yankee. He started his
Really?
career. Yeah, he started his career as an Indian. It's like, and he was great in Cleveland. I'm like, you're not going to go going in as an Indian? Like, come on.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I figured he would have went in as a Cleveland Indian.
Yeah, I forget how many years he played with the Yankees. I don't follow baseball as much, but I remember when he was in Cleveland, and Cleveland was very, very good.
Oh, Carter must not be thrilled with old CC, but at a certain point, the Indians, you can do the charade in baseball, but there's only a handful of teams um, that really even can afford to pay salaries.
Yeah, because of the salary cap.
And we're going to get into that in the last segment. I have a lot of thoughts on that. Ichiro, I wouldn't say that. In some ways, he's sort of a trailblazer. Like when Ichiro came, but you had Hideo Nomo, a lot of the Japanese guys, Hideki Matsui. You had the door open for some of those Far East guys to come over and play Major League Baseball. I mean, look at Shohei Ohtani. I bet Ichiro could have pitched at the time. The dude was spectacular, one of the best hitters I've ever seen. Between him and Tony Gwynn.
Good old Tony Gwynn, man. He was good.
And then you have Billy Wagner, iconic closer for the Houston Astros. I don't think that BW. I think it's interesting that BW. It took a little bit for BW to get in, and also Ichiro was one vote away from being a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is wild to me.
That is very wild.
I'm trying to look up the details on this O'Connell deal, and because it's a multi-year extension, is all it says.
Josh McDaniels is hired as the new OC in New England.
They did hire him.
They did hire him.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't be shocked if it doesn't go well in New England. I mean, seriously. I mean, would you be shocked? I wouldn't be. I
wouldn't be either. And he had Tom Brady as his quarterback.
I think that, McDaniels did win Super Bowls, but I don't, all I'm seeing is that real quick here is all I'm seeing is all the how can Ben Johnson help Caleb Williams? I don't think it's a matter of can he help him. I don't think Caleb Williams is fixable.
His ego is too big, telling the punter he's not going to not have to punt the season. The punter has more punting yards than his passing total.
Yeah, I think it's a rough situation in Chicago because now Poles has brought in his head coach. I don't know. I don't think they have a good fit for what they're trying to do. I don't think they have a good fit. Sorry about that.
You're good.
I don't know if Caleb Williams is the guy that you can hang the hat on as the franchise, but I guess we'll see, and then we'll hop into this Notre Dame Ohio State National Championship. If you're watching out there on YouTube or Twitter, hop on over, and on TikTok, hop on over to the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith on YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out. So that's what we're trying to do to grow the show. So if you hit that like and subscribe button, come on over to the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. That helps us blow this thing up. Rich, so let's get into it. Ohio State defeats Notre Dame last night. Any initial thoughts on what you had going in?
I knew it was going to be a well-fought competitive matchup versus other, people that are Buckeye fans saying Notre Dame's going to get curb stomped and the shit kicked in. I knew Marcus was going to have the Irish ready to compete and try to pull the upset last night. And that Ohio State played great. Well, that first drive with Riley Leonard when they took off 9 minutes they took off the clock? 7, 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 minutes. How many was it? I mean, they were bullying Ohio State's front line with that QB power. I mean, great game plan. They were trying to set the tone early against Ohio State and that defense. I thought to myself, we're going to have a ball game. And then, Ohio State had 3 possessions, 3 scores. Unfortunately, in the first half, Notre Dame had 3 drives and only 1 score. And that led to everything opening up in the second half, where Q had that big 75-yard, and some people were already calling it, "Oh, it's curtains, it's curtains." I said, don't sleep on the Irish. They're going to claw and fight back as much as they can and try to make it a game. And they did. I was getting nervous. I'm not going to lie. I was getting real nervous last night.
Right. I think one of the bigger things is that, if Notre Dame would have stayed out of the big second quarter and put up a touchdown in the second quarter, I think that game is totally looking different. Because
go ahead.
Because if Notre Dame just scored a touchdown, it's you could have had it knotted up. You could have had it 14-14 because Notre Dame held Ohio State to they shut them out in the first quarter. If they could have shut them out in the fourth quarter, I think that in had a touchdown difference. But if there's a lot of ifs there. But if you go back and the first scoring drive was 18 plays, 75 yards, 9 minutes and 45 seconds off the clock.
Hell of a consistent drive that first drive for Notre Dame. Hell of a drive.
I kind of think the second quarter is what won Ohio State the game, because you have a 11 plays 75-yard touchdown, 10 plays 76-yard touchdown, 12 plays 80-yard touchdown, and after Jaden Fielding kicked that field goal, it was 31-7. So I mean, yeah. you're looking a lot at that. If you could erase one of those touchdowns and Notre Dame puts up a touchdown, it would have been a different game. I thought it was interesting. Ohio State had they had the one turnover. Time of possession, Ohio State beat them. First downs 22-19 for Ohio State. I just think the biggest thing for me is that stands out is Ohio State's third down efficiency. They were 9 of 12 on third down. I think that's a lot of the game right there.
Will Howard solidified his legacy as a Buckeye down in Columbus. No matter what some of those idiots up at the ESPN radio saying he's not a Buckeye, he's only been here for 5 months. The kid played a great game. A great game. He'll go down as one of possibly the greatest Buckeyes to ever don the scarlet and gray. speaking of which, with possibly Notre Dame getting that touchdown, that was a hell of a play on that wheel route against Trey. I thought Notre Dame picked it. I don't know about you. I'm like, oh shit, they picked it. The momentum swinging towards the Irish now.
Yeah, that would have been tough. Obviously they didn't get that done, but if you go back and look at the quarterbacks, Riley Leonard, 22 of 31, 255, 2 tubs. Will Howard, 17 of 21 for 231, 2 tubs. I mean, Riley Leonard threw 11 more passes than Will Howard, completed a couple of more, but I don't think either one of these. Now they're saying Will Howard's going to be a first round draft pick, but whatever. I'm not buying that.
No,
I'm not buying that with $1.
I'd say maybe mid second, late second, early third, at most, at best.
I want to go watch him throw a route tree.
Are you? Hey, is the combine open to the public? You gotta get tickets.
I think you got to get tickets, but I don't think they're expensive. They're probably like $20-$30. Who knows?
I'd like to go.
I would like to go watch the quarterbacks throw, because I would say Shador and Cam Ward aren't going to throw. But yeah, rolling down the stats here, Will Howard had 16 carries for 57 yards. Riley Leonard, 17 carries for 40 yards. Yeah, I agree with Sid. It wasn't Al Golden's best game. It's I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you had to stop a lot of different factors going into it. Also, Quinshawn breaks right at 100 yards. He had a total of 3 touchdowns. So
yeah, 11 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns for Q. Will Howard's 17 to 21 for 231 for 2 tutties.
And then Jeremiah Love, I would like to, know the full extent of that injury, because I think it's really strange. 4 carries for 3 yards. He must have been really hurt.
Right.
Price, 3 carries for 13 yards. It's just really strange. We, gave the running backs 7 carries for 16 yards is what they were held to.
Under 2 yards a pop.
So it's Notre Dame. If you add Riley Leonard's in there, they were 26 of 53 on the ground. As a team, they were minus 4 yards. So couldn't get anything rolling on the ground. The Steve Angeli fake punt was rough. So there's a lot of things that can be cleaned up, and can they be fixed? Yeah. Greathouse had a monster game, 2 touchdowns, 6 yards for 128. Mitch Evans, Bo Collins, was he great for the Irish all year? He was okay. I'm sure there's going to be some people that are going to get on me and not like this comment. JJ Smith obviously had, I wouldn't say a monster game. He had the big play that probably won the game. 5 catches for 88 yards, 1 touchdown. But, it was all year. Bo Collins, 41 catches for 490 yards and 3 touchdowns. You gotta,
I got something.
Yeah, but that's just one of the things that we talked about in the offseason, if you watch the show in the offseason, like Irish for Life says, um, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. But if you watch a lot of the show in the offseason, we talked about the lack of big playability, their big playability for Bo Collins and things of that source. Indy found their best receiver in Great House. He's special. This comment here, yeah. Hold on. Where's Great House been all year? Yeah, I know. It's something that Notre Dame hasn't really had as far as big plays down the field. So I mean, they did have the one turnover. Notre Dame only allowed 2 sacks, and Notre Dame allowed 2 sacks and gave up 2 sacks. Cody Simon, leading tackler. Watson Bowen tied for Notre Dame, but I'll be interested to see what this Notre Dame roster looks like by the end of the how do I want to say it, the spring transfer portal window. What it's going to look like for fall. I would say that you probably got to go out and get receivers. Marcus has said that they are not going to bring in a transfer portal quarterback. I don't know if I 100% believe in that. On the Ohio State side of things, I think you lose a ton.
I don't know about Julian Sang, Duke. Like, I have to see how well he does in the off season, spring ball.
Oh,
Because
Golden
they got
State. Yeah, I thought Al could have dialed up more blitzes, in my opinion. But I think not the offensive line, the defensive line was so decimated at a certain point to where I don't think it would have mattered. I mean, not having Riley Mills was huge. But go ahead, Rich. Julian saying you were saying.
I'm just curious to see how well he does. Because he's possibly the de facto starter for next season, or for the fall.
Do you agree with saying being the starter unanimously and Devin Brown hitting the bricks?
No, I wanted Devin Brown to at least get a shot at the starting job.
But Julian Sane was the number 1 overall quarterback. Does that sway your opinion at all?
No, that stuff does not mean anything to me. I want to see how well he goes through his progressions, how well he can deliver the ball, how well he can conduct himself in a huddle, and in translating that offense and getting the plays in and out. I need to see what he can do. When Devin Brown played for Ohio State last year against Missouri, he was all in. He was ready to. He said, "Let's burn the boats. I'm locked in." Yada yada yada. Unfortunately, he got hurt against Missouri. We didn't get to see much of him. So that's something we'll never really get to fully see down at Ohio State with Devin Brown.
Now, here's the thing. Ryan Day's hit rate on quarterbacks has been pretty good. You're obviously Air Nolan left. Air Nolan left and Devin Brown had left. Those were the only guys. You still have Keenholz, Sayin,
St. Clair
are your 3 that you still have, and I wouldn't be shocked if Keenholz leaves. That is that's a very complicated quarterback carousel. That it's a very finite detail. Um, if Julian Saint's everything that they say he's going to be, I think Ohio State will be good. But then again, rolling out a first-year starter, you're going to have growing pains. I don't think Buckeye Nation that will satisfy the crazies. Because defensively, I think you completely have to reload.
Oh, that defense! You got to reload everybody. They're losing a lot because everybody came back.
You're probably replacing both corners, the entire defensive line. I think you only bring back Sonny Styles as linebacker.
Yeah.
Arvell Reese, but
yeah, Arvell Reese might get the starting nod. How well he does.
Because you're losing Lathan Ransom and 2 starting corners. I mean, there's a
lot of holes. A lot of holes that are going to need to be filled and figured out in the next 3 or 4 months.
That's one of the things that I think Jim Knowles will be okay. I think Caleb Downs is a big enough eraser to help out to fix some of those things. So I don't necessarily think that it'll be like the end of the world per se. I think they might struggle. Will it be giving up 11 points? I don't know. They could come out and be world beaters, and everybody could get better in the offseason, and a lot of things can change to a certain extent, but it's just what it is.
I'm curious to see what Q does if he decides to declare for the draft.
He ain't made that decision yet, huh?
Mm-mm. When is that deadline? Do you know when they got to declare for the NFL draft?
First or second week in February, I believe, is the drop date. Okay. I think, because I know the hard date for a lot of schools that are on quarters is February 1st. Is like one of the last drop ad dates. Okay. So I don't know. I'll be curious if IBG Igmanosin comes back.
He'll probably put his hat to declare.
I don't know. I think he's like a 3rd or 4th round pick, maybe, just because of the.
I'd say 5th.
Well, the problem you have is in the NFL you can't breathe on the receivers.
No.
And I think that's one of the. I think corner, quarterback, and offensive tackle are the top 3 spots. I would say quarterback obviously 1, but corner or tackle, like, could you imagine having to block J.J. Watt all game by yourself? Like, good luck. Or covering Justin Jefferson, and you can't touch him? It just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, there's a couple of those positions that are standalone. I don't know. I think I would, if I'm putting on my Ohio State hat, I want Quinshon Judkins to declare.
Why?
Just I've stated the reasons why, and I think if it just doesn't go well, you're going to understand why he was not at Ole Miss anymore. And people could say that that's made up and it's not true. Well, it's at Ohio State, isn't he? So I guess we'll see. But we'll reset the show here. If you're watching out there on Twitter, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're on TikTok or even on anything else, come on over to the YouTube channel, hit that like and subscribe button, and help us blow this thing up. That's what we're trying to do. I'm trying to take it to the next level. But for the last topic that we got rolling for today is something that I find very, very interesting. It's with all the stuff going on in Wisconsin. Um, I think that with everything that you're looking at, because I'm trying to pull up Wisconsin's stuff and see if the team has it on their ESPN stuff, to see even if ESPN is talking about it, because and also the Indiana athletic department laid off 25 people for revenue sharing.
Did somebody on this show call that's going to happen?
I tried telling people, but yes, Xavier Lucas is the kid in question. So basically what is going on is Wisconsin is completely freaking out and saying that Miami tampered when they really don't have any evidence to the fact.
Who do they tamper with?
Was Signetti one of them? No. Xavier Lucas, the Miami, he's I think he's a defensive back. Because why this is a big deal is because he withdrew from school. He dropped out of school because they wouldn't give him his release to go into the transfer portal. This is the problem. So technically the transfer portal doesn't mean anything. If you can get enrolled in a school, they can take you. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the huge problem. If, like, let's say I'm at Ohio State and I want to go to Michigan, and the drop ad date for normal students, for athletes, it's different, the drop ad date, because the NCAA says you got to be there on the first day of class. Well, normal students, they'll give them a 2 or 3 week grace period if they're on quarters. So instead of your drop ad date being February 1st, it could be February 17th. So if you want to treat them like regular students, that's the problem. And if Wisconsin doesn't get this stopped, it completely undermines the transfer portal. Then everything with the portal doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not
because
good.
how can you enforce it? He's a college student. Just because he plays football, because you could withdraw from class and go walk onto the football team.
Yeah.
And he signed a 2-year binding NIL deal with the collective, and then signed a rev share deal, which I don't know how that's even going to play out, because rev share is not even fully a thing yet. And a lot of these universities gave out rev share deals, and it's supposed to kick in August 1st. Well, if this gets held up in court and you don't get that money, then what the hell are you going to do? So you've committed all this money that you don't have.
Yeah.
And the Wisconsin says they're going to seek legal action towards the student because he broke the NIL deal. I don't see why that.
Well, I mean, it's like signing a contract and you're breaking that contract.
Well, I get that, but here's the deal. There should be an out in there. There should be some type of out, because let's just be real here. If the kid doesn't want to be at Wisconsin, why are you going to make him stay there? If he doesn't play, then what are you going to do? You still have to pay him if he doesn't play. He signed the deal.
Yeah.
So you might as well just rip the deal up and cut your losses and let the kid go.
Yeah.
But no,
walk.
I think that this is I think Fickle's pulling the strings on this one because he feels scorned, and this is what happens when you try to get a kid to sign a multi-year deal that is a marketing deal that did an attorney even look at it. So you got a kid to sign a deal that he didn't even know what the hell he was signing. Is it shame on the kid or shame on the adults in the room?
Shame on the adults in the room.
So who's really at fault here? Should the kid, I bet if the kid knew up front, hey, this is a 2-year deal, I bet he wouldn't have signed it.
Right. Yep. They try to pull the wool over his eyes, and now it's backfiring on him.
But I don't know if that's 100% true or not. But I'm just saying that if you're Wisconsin, you're already behind the 8 ball in this. No one wants to go to your school. Your coach doesn't have the greatest reputation on the street, for one. And that's a fact. That's been said on other shows that he's kind of dirty balled on some JUCO kids. And then now you have this, and you're on the hot seat. TVD got hurt, and you're coming off a 5-7 season. And with player empowerment the way it is these days, you're going to try to recruit guys and thinking that we're just not going to let them out of their contract. Okay.
Good luck. See you in court.
And here's the problem. If he drops out of school, what are you going to do? You can't make him go to Wisconsin legally.
No.
That's the problem. Because if the court upholds this is another big old shit sandwich for the NCAA that they got to take a bite of.
It's gonna taste pretty shitty.
I don't know how you can make the kid stay if he drops out of school. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know.
And I mean, there's gotta be a buyout in there somewhere. Just make Miami buy the damn thing out.
just have him buy his deal and be done with it. Wipe your hands and move on.
Yeah, I don't think that Miami is. Do I think they're totally innocent in this? No. But
Duke, it always takes 2 to tango.
Yes. I mean, obviously, the kid was wanting out of there. There's a reason why he wanted to leave Wisconsin. Do you want to be in South Beach or do you want to be in Appleton or Madison? Madison, Wisconsin in January or South Beach in January? I mean,
what would you choose? I know what I'd choose.
Because, like, the headline is that he leaves Wisconsin without entering the portal. I'm trying to read this a little bit, and he publicly stated on Twitter that he had said that I, Xavier Lucas, am looking to leave the University of Wisconsin. They will not give me my release. Okay.
That's like, so, dude, that's kind of like also saying, like, you want to find it. You found a new job, you want to quit, but your job's not going to let you quit.
Right.
It's the same damn thing. You can't do that. That's
because, see, this is where this all funnels back into the cap thing. Remember when I kept on saying, how are you going to salary cap it? You can't cap it. Because I cannot tell you as the NCAA, Richie, you're only worth X amount of dollars. I can't do that because there's no collective bargaining agreement that hasn't been negotiated with the other side. I'm sorry. That's the problem in all of this. And not to mention Title IX, but it sounds like they might get a special exemption for revenue sports. So revenue sharing is alive on the Title IX front, all the so-called there's going to be some very upset people about that, but it's going to be you're entitled to revenue that your sport brings in. So, sorry, gymnastics, swimming. Not that I'm singling out anybody, but the sports that don't produce revenue, you're not going to get an equal bite of the pie. Some people are going to have a really hard problem digesting that, but that's just what it is. It's a very, very interesting endeavor we're going down here, but now you can have kids move schools without even entering the transfer portal. I mean, technically, I can't believe people didn't think of that sooner, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is gonna. Other kids are gonna follow suit with what that kid from Wisconsin's doing. It's gonna happen.
Unless the NCAA tries to close the loophole, but I don't know how you can, because you can't tell somebody they can't withdraw from class. And the other thing too is that if you get, like, let's say, Slappy McGillicuddy wants to drop Ohio State and go to Michigan, Michigan will be like, well, we'll just move our drop ad date.
Yeah,
that's all they'll do.
Yeah.
Now, the proposed portal window being 10 days one time after the season, I think that it should be 10 days after the national championship. At midnight of the national championship, you have until midnight from 2 weeks from now to decide if you want to be on the team or not. Davey Boy on Wisconsin, yeah. Dave's a big Badgers fan. He even has Bucky the Badger tattooed on his forearm. So that's how big of a fan Dave is. He is from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yes, definitely. Also has a PBR tattoo that tells you all you need to know about Davey Boy.
PBR, the nectar of the gods.
But shockingly enough, I've never ever seen Davey drink a PBR. But yeah, I think Luke Fickell's got a problem here at.
Do you think he survives next season, Duke?
If they go 5-7, no, I think they fire him.
Yeah.
Now, if Al Golden leaves, you call Luke Fickell if you're Marcus? You're getting fired at Wisconsin either way.
Pick up the phone. Not? Why not? Pick it up.
Never seen you drink a Stroh's. It's because there's only one bar in town that sells it, Dave. Now, one of the things that I think is very interesting is I think that if I'm Luke Fickell, I don't hate the idea of being the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. It saves you from getting fired, for one.
Less pressure.
Oh yeah, less pressure.
Why not?
And see, Irish for life. I'm down with that. And I don't hate the idea. You brought Phil Longo to Wisconsin, thought it was going to work, didn't work out. TVD, his knee explodes in the Alabama game. You go out there and get your ass totally kicked by Alabama. The Fickell experiment in Wisconsin hasn't gone well because I think he's always had a city to sell. Madison is not a city that you can sell. Cincinnati, pretty decent city. Columbus, pretty decent city. So, I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility in having Fick come to Notre Dame, or at least calling him and asking him, and the people will be like, oh, there's no way. Well, Chip Kelly slid his pride to the table and said, hey, I've been the head coach for X amount of years. It wasn't going well.
I'm done.
It wasn't going well at UCLA.
Let me try this coordinator stuff.
Yeah. So I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility. Them big shoes. Yeah, Al Golden's a great defensive coordinator. Even thought AG put. Uh, yeah, it's the Al Golden thing. I'm not going to say that he's completely off the hook. I think there's some things that are schematically that you could have changed. But, Rich, when it comes down to that game, I think on the Notre Dame criticism, um, well, yeah, Chip Kelly did get a big fat bag to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, but I feel like Ohio State had to give him a giant. They had to bring in the big guns. That's why Bill O'Brien was on the table. That's why a lot of these guys were on the table as far as to come to Ohio State was because they needed to have those big time names and big time coordinators
Right.
to go on this run because I think without Jim Knowles or Chip Kelly, Al Golden, Mike Denbrock, that's over 100 years of coaching experience and play callers, and I don't think either team makes it as far as they do without those guys on staff. Do I think Ryan Day and Marcus are great head coaches? Obviously, they made it to the national championship. I mean, Ryan's been doing it a little bit longer than Marcus. So, I mean, Ryan's, coached in a natty game, lost a natty game before. So it's a learning experience for Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I will say that really stuck out to me on the Marcus Freeman front was when he was in the middle of the transition for his press conference, he watched the trophy celebration.
I was
on
just
TV.
about, Duke. I was just about to. You beat me to it. He watched it, thinking this is what we got to do to get here next time. This is what it takes. I mean, he's gonna get there. It's gonna happen for Notre Dame.
I think eventually he will. Irish for life. I agree that the scheme was a little bit different, but I feel like when you show up to try to play those guys and you don't have every guy at full strength, I'm not making excuses, but I just JJ Smith is probably going to be the first overall pick as a wide receiver. I don't see how he's not. And yeah, I definitely agree. Injuries caught up. Sean here. Everyone pays for a championship. Yeah. Ohio State paid on and off the field for their national championship, so they probably have 50 million wrapped up in the football program. But one thing before we get out of here that I think people lose sight of is the fact of Mundo that you have a lot of money invested in these football programs, and whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out of it at the end of the day. I think one thing is I think Notre Dame realized that I think the wide receivers they hid all year for the most part, and I think it finally reared its head in the national championship. Yeah, Notre Dame has been they're getting the NIL collective together because there was a couple of things that they didn't have 100% set in place, but
what's their total payout for the playoff?
I think it's going to be now. If you ask certain people, well, Notre Dame only gets this much, but Ohio State gets monies from other bowls. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's going to be over 40 million. So
Nice. That's a nice little piggy bank they got there in South Bend.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to split it with anybody, but nobody wants to talk about the two Pac-12 schools that got 25 million apiece from the Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl. Yep.
So I don't understand why Big Ten schools are Irish together. Yeah, altogether 40 million. But I don't know why the Big Ten schools are pocket watching. It's like just keep on doing that heavy lifting for. Yeah, I believe so. I believe it was 20 million outright. But yeah, you got the folks pocket watching, and then you have all that money. I just think that Ohio State, Michigan keep carrying the torch for Rutgers, Northwestern, Purdue, all those big heavy hitter schools that you can keep scheduling. That they want to talk about Notre Dame's schedule being soft, but also nobody ever had the gauntlet of Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall to start the season off.
Very true, Duke. Very true.
But also, Rich, I don't have anything else. Do you got anything?
Nah, it's just gonna be a long off season, but hey, I'm here for it. This past football season was fun. Just breaking down the games and being part of this show. I'm glad to be a part of it. We'll see what the off season brings, boys.
Yeah. Yeah, they do make money when they schedule Notre Dame because, contrary to belief, Notre Dame does bring eyeballs. But with that being said, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over to the YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. The Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Turn on those bell notifications so when we go live Monday through Friday at 7:30 Eastern. But with that being said, everybody have a good night.
Have a great night, everybody.